Don't you dare take credit for Martha's work again. Philip's voice ricocheted down the corridor, a thunderclap inside our too-quiet office. I stopped with an armful of files pressed to my chest, that old knot tightening beneath my ribs, the one that shows up when I can't tell if a fight is about to save my career or burn it down. A cool, even reply slid through the conference room door. You're confused, Philip. I've been nurturing the Synex partnership for months. Martha's simply putting my strategy into slides. Danielle. Smooth as marble, new title still shiny. Suit so sharp it could cut paper. I pushed the door open. Two heads swung toward me, Philip in his rumpled blazer, loyalty practically stitched into the lining, and Danielle Fulton, newly minted VP of Sales, impeccable and unbothered, as if crises. We're just puzzles waiting to be solved by people with the right diplomas. Martha, perfect timing. Relief flashed across Philip's face. Tell Danielle who built the Synex deck. I set the files down, spine straight. I did. Silence hummed. The city glittered beyond the glass. Cincinnati, clean and orderly, pretending business wasn't a blood sport. I'll need your notes by end of day, Danielle said, reclaiming the stage like I'd misread my line. I'm finalizing the presentation. It's already final. I kept my voice level. The framework revolves around the custom, multimodal supply chain design I tailored to their roots. It addresses every gap their operations flagged. Her smile flattened by a millimeter. Then I'll review thoroughly. We cannot risk this client. This is the biggest opportunity in company history. $50 million over 5 years. I nodded once. I'm aware. What I didn't say, a year of dawn coffees and midnight whiteboards, 4 trips to Detroit, hours mapping freight lanes until the spreadsheets blurred, carefully building trust with every skeptical stakeholder Synex sent into the room. And one quiet truth no one at Orion Tech knew. Tasha Brennan, CEO of Synex Holdings, used to split rent with me during college. 2 years. Same thrift store couch, same instant noodles, same finals week survival pact. We stayed friends afterward. We met for brunch whenever travel overlapped. I never cashed in that friendship. It simply opened the first door. I walked the rest of the hallway on merit. Philip and I drifted back toward our desks. She's going to edge you out of the final meeting, he muttered. Let her try, I said, calm, certain. Tasha won't sign if I'm not in the room. My name is Martha Ellison, 32. 6 years at Orion Tech Solutions, a company that builds logistics software most people never see but every pallet on an interstate relies on. I started as a junior rep with an Ohio University diploma and a chip on my shoulder big enough to climb. Now I'm business development manager, results, not pedigree. Danielle never let me forget the difference. Ping. Calendar invite, executive meeting, 9A. M tomorrow. From our CEO. A cold ripple slid down my spine. The boardroom was a museum for power, gleaming wood, skyline views, the citrus bite of polish that never quite fades. I took a seat at the far end of the table and smoothed my department store blazer like armor. The only person here without an Ivy League crest in their bio. I could feel it the way you can feel a draft. You don't see it, but it raises the hairs on your arms. Jonathan Pierce, CEO, steel-rimmed glasses, voice made for earnings calls, sat at the head. Danielle claimed the chair to his right, portfolio open, pen aligned perfectly with the table's edge. 3 other executives completed the portrait. Navy suits, identical watches, eyes that weighed people like line items. Martha, thank you for joining, Jonathan began. Danielle tells me you've made significant progress with Synex. We're in the endgame, I said, sliding out my notes. They've verbally committed to the full package. Contract scheduled for next week. $50 million, 5 years, renewal option. He steepled his fingers, leaning in. Outstanding. This would be our largest win. A ray of pride warmed the ice in my chest. It's been a team effort, but yes, I'm proud of where we're landing. We do have a concern, Danielle cooed, smooth as a velvet rope pulled tight. Synex's enterprise needs are substantial. I architected the proposal around enterprise scale, I replied. Security, uptime, integrations, phased rollout. Their IT team's concerns are addressed throughout the implementation plan. Not just technicals, she said, soft smile never touching her eyes. Relationship management? A client of that magnitude requires a particular finesse. There it was, the word you can't measure, but people promote each other for anyway. I've managed the relationship for a year, I said evenly. Ms. Brennan specifically asked that I oversee implementation. Of course. Danielle's gaze flicked toward Jonathan, then back to me. You've done excellent groundwork. No one disputes that. They did. I could feel it in the glances pinging around the table, the way Jonathan's eyes slid past mine and fixed on some neutral space behind me, as if looking directly at me would create obligations he didn't want. We need our most experienced talent leading this flagship account, Danielle continued. I'll take point on final negotiations and the signing. 6 years of weekends surrendered, 6 years of travel, of missing birthdays, of pretending I didn't notice when promotions bypassed merit for pedigree. And now, the finish line moved 3 feet to the right so someone else could break the tape. Is there a performance concern? I asked, crisp, clinical. Not at all, Jonathan said quickly. You've exceeded expectations. But as we grow, we must consider the image we present to high-value clients. Danielle has Fortune 500 experience you simply don't have. He didn't say Harvard. He didn't need to. The room said it for him. I breathed in, held it, let it out slow. Understood. The next week blurred. I handed over frameworks. I briefed Danielle on every conversation with Synex. I drafted talking points she could recite without tripping. I did it all without flinching because flinching is blood in corporate waters. By Friday afternoon, 48 hours before the signing, I received another calendar invite. Executive meeting, 4 p.m. HR included. I knew. You always do, even before you see the manila folder waiting at your chair. Martha, Jonathan said, corporate mask flawless. Thank you for your contributions to Orion Tech. As you know, we're restructuring to position ourselves for the next phase of growth. Translation: we've already decided. Please make this easy. We've eliminated the business development manager role effective immediately. The words hovered between us like smoke that wouldn't dissipate. 6 years folded into a paragraph. I see, I said. My voice surprised me. Steady, almost gentle. Why now? Days before closing the largest contract in our history? This isn't about Synex, he said. We all knew it was. It's about long-term strategy. We need to elevate our team's credentials as we pursue enterprise clients. You mean fancier diplomas? I said, not bothering to decorate the truth. His mouth tightened. Elite backgrounds and enterprise experience. That's where we're headed. Danielle leaned in, playing benevolent executioner. We're prepared to offer 3-month severance and benefits. And a strong recommendation. How generous. A consolation ribbon for running a marathon in someone else's shoes. Char slid the folder toward me. We'll need your badge and laptop today. I looked around the table, searching for one honest thing. Regret, gratitude, a flinch of doubt. Nothing, just impatience to get back to their real work. Thank you for the opportunity, I said, rising, dignity tucked tight around me like a shawl. No dramatics, no begging. I took the folder. I left. At my desk, I wrapped my Ohio University diploma in tissue, careful fingers, steady breath. This is insane, Philip hissed, hovering at the edge of my cubicle. You land a $50 million deal and they cut you loose before ink hits paper. It's fine, I said. It's not fine. Fight them. I closed the box and felt an unexpected calm bloom in my chest. They made their decision. On Monday morning, they'll understand exactly how expensive it was. His eyes searched my face. What do you mean? I allowed myself the smallest smile. Just wait and see. That night, my phone slept face down. Saturday bled into Sunday. I sorted old notebooks, deleted old emails, let the anger drain until it left something sharper behind. Clarity. Monday, 9:30 a.m., yoga pants, coffee, laptop open to job boards. My phone buzzed. Tasha. Heading into the lion's den. Wish you were here? Brunch to celebrate after? My thumbs hovered. I typed, absolutely. Good luck. Call me after. I didn't mention I wasn't there. I didn't warn her. Some things you don't steer, you watch. The next buzz came faster. Tasha, can't wait to work with you on this. I set the phone down, heartbeat steady. The knot in my stomach untying into something like certainty. Somewhere across town, in the polished conference room that always smelled faintly like lemons and money, Danielle would be arranging the printouts just so. Jonathan would rehearse his opening line in his head. The executives would settle in, ready to applaud their own victory. They had no idea what was about to hit them. If you're into stories where quiet grit outplays fancy titles, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. If you're enjoying the build-up, give this a like. It really helps the channel. And comment below, what would you do if your boss tried to sideline you at the finish line? The mahogany table gleamed under the overhead lights, but the tension in the air was dull and heavy. 10 a.m. sharp, the Synex signing meeting began. Except something was missing. Me. Across the city, I sat cross-legged on my couch, coffee warm in my hands. My phone rested face up this time because I already knew the storm was coming, and right on cue, it rang. Philip. Martha. Oh my God. You are not going to believe this. His voice tumbled out in gasps. Try me, I said calmly. He launched into the scene like he'd been waiting to unload. Tasha walked into the boardroom, looked around, and the first words out of her mouth were, "Where's Martha?" I closed my eyes picturing it. The executives shifting in their leather chairs, Danielle stiffening like a porcelain doll under heat. They told her you weren't with the company anymore, Philip continued breathlessly, and she cut them off, hard. Said, if Martha isn't involved, this deal is on hold. I smiled, just a flicker. And Jonathan? Damage control mode. He babbled about team-based approaches, future strategy, the usual garbage. Tasha wasn't having it. She flat out told them the only reason Synex considered Orion was because of you. Without you, she said, the deal doesn't exist. I let the silence stretch, savoring the image. Danielle's perfect plan unraveling. Jonathan's polished mask cracking. Now they're scrambling, Philip added. Danielle's practically in tears. Legal's on the phone, but there's nothing to enforce. The contract wasn't signed. Exactly, I murmured. I had made sure of that. He hesitated before asking the question I knew was coming. How did you know this would happen? I weighed my answer, then gave him the truth. Tasha was my college roommate. We've been close for over a decade. Silence on the other end, then awe. And they never knew? They never asked. They saw my Ohio University diploma and assumed I had no meaningful connections. Philip whistled low. Martha, this is a corporate disaster. They're panicking. What are you going to do? That was the $1 million, or rather, $50 million question. Within the hour, my phone became a lifeline for Orion Tech's Desperation. 3 missed calls from Danielle. 2 from Jonathan. A carefully worded text from HR pretending politeness. By the 4th call from Jonathan, I finally answered. Martha, he said, relief dripping into his voice. We need to talk. I'm listening. There seems to be a misunderstanding with Synex. Ms. Brennan believes you're essential to the deal. That's not a misunderstanding, I replied. That's reality, a pause. I could almost hear him pinching the bridge of his nose, the way he always did when negotiations weren't in his favor. Perhaps we acted too quickly on Friday. We'd like to discuss bringing you back to oversee implementation. I laughed, sharp, unrestrained. You fired me because I wasn't Ivy League enough. Now you want me back because you're about to lose 50 million. That's not. It's exactly what happened, Jonathan. Let's not rewrite history. Silence. Then, carefully, what would it take, Martha? Salary, title, equity. Name your terms. I'd imagined this moment all weekend. At first, fueled by rage, I saw myself demanding Danielle's job, a public apology, 7-figure compensation. But as the sting dulled, clarity sharpened. No, I said simply. There's nothing you can offer. I won't return. Jonathan's voice dropped, stripped of its executive polish. Tasha is threatening to walk. The board is meeting an emergency session. This is 50 million, Martha. That sounds like your problem, I replied evenly. Not mine, I hung up. A minute later, my phone buzzed again. Not Orion this time. Tasha. These people are unbelievable, her text read. They fired you after everything you did. I'm furious. Call me. I did. Martha, what the hell? She burst out when she answered. Why didn't you tell me they let you go? Wanted to see how they'd spin it, I admitted. And they spun. Badly. Well, I shut it down. You're the only reason Synex considered Orion. Without you, there's no deal. Her words were fire in my chest. Validation. Vindication. But also, opportunity. So, I asked cautiously, what happens now? That depends on you, she said. If you want me to walk away from Orion entirely, I will. But I have another idea. Her pause lingered, charged. Do you remember Gregory Wilson? The name snapped a half-memory loose. Economics major, a year ahead of us in school. He runs Wilson Enterprise Solutions now, Tasha continued. Direct competitor to Orion. They've been trying to get in front of me for months. And Greg is looking for a new business development director. Someone with industry experience. Someone with relationships. My pulse quickened. You're suggesting I jump ship? I'm suggesting you let Orion drown in the hole they dug and build something stronger with people who actually value you. The pieces fell together with startling clarity. A chance to walk into Orion's biggest rival, bring Synex with me, and write my own narrative. Professional, clean, devastating. Send me his contact, I said. Already I could hear her smile. Just texted it. He's expecting your call. And just like that, the betrayal that nearly buried me became the spark for something greater. If you're hooked by how betrayal can flip into opportunity, smash that like button, it helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe for more revenge stories that hit this hard. And tell me in the comments, if you were Martha, would you walk away clean or use this moment to strike back? 3 hours later, I sat in a downtown cafe across from Gregory Wilson, founder of Wilson Enterprise Solutions. Sharp, energetic, the kind of leader who looked at problems and saw blueprints instead of walls. Tasha speaks highly of you, he said after we'd exchanged pleasantries. Says you're the most client-focused professional she's ever met. I believe in relationships, not transactions, I replied. Technology evolves, trust endures. His grin widened. Then let's talk. We've got superior tech, cloud-native, adaptive, user-friendly. What we need is someone who can open doors with enterprise clients. Someone who knows how to land a Synex, I leaned forward. Someone like me, he didn't hesitate. Exactly. I'll be blunt, I want to poach you. Director of Business Development. Full autonomy, equity, salary that makes whatever Orion offered look insulting. For the first time in days, a genuine smile tugged at my lips. That's quite a pitch, Greg shrugged. Orion's mistake, my gain. What do you say? By nightfall, I had the formal offer in my inbox. Double the pay, equity, signing bonus, authority, respect. I signed without a second thought. Tasha's call came minutes later. Perfect. I just informed Orion that Synex is withdrawing. Jonathan looked like he'd swallowed glass. I laughed, low and unrestrained. They'll never see it coming when we sit down with Wilson next week. Tuesday morning arrived, and I strode into Wilson's sleek conference room, not as an outsider, not as a discarded employee, but as the director of business development. Tasha greeted me with a hug, then slid seamlessly into CEO mode. 2 hours later, Synex Holdings inked a $45 million deal with Wilson Enterprise Solutions. Slightly smaller than Orion's proposed contract, but backed by technology that actually delivered. And by me, the one person Tasha trusted to see it through. News traveled fast. Industry whispers spread. Orion Tech loses Synex after firing lead strategist. My phone buzzed with messages from contacts I'd cultivated over 6 years. Everyone wanted to know why I'd left, and what Wilson could offer. I didn't trash Orion. I didn't need to. The facts were louder than gossip. Within 3 months, Wilson's growth surged 150%. We captured 3 of Orion's flagship accounts. Philip joined my team, the first of many who traded pedigree-obsessed culture for a company that valued results. Then came the final twist. A LinkedIn message from Philip. Danielle was let go yesterday. Cited the Synex disaster. Thought you'd want to know. I leaned back, letting the satisfaction wash over me. Not gloating, not bitter, just vindicated. Karma doesn't always move fast, but when it does, it's surgical. 1 year after my firing, Wilson announced my promotion to Chief Revenue Officer. I stood in my new corner office, sunlight spilling over the Ohio University diploma hanging proudly on the wall. Not Harvard, not Stanford, mine. Across the headlines, Orion Tech announced restructuring after 4 straight quarters of decline. Jonathan stepped down. The company sought a buyer. I didn't celebrate their downfall. I didn't need to, because true revenge isn't about burning bridges. It's about building something so strong. The people who doubted you can only watch from the rubble. And as I stared out over the Cincinnati skyline, one truth rang clear. Success isn't defined by where you start. It's defined by where you finish. If Martha's Revenge gave you chills, hit that like button. It tells me these stories are resonating. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales of betrayal turned triumph. And let me know in the comments, what was your favorite part of Martha's comeback?